Let's do it. Hey guys, what's going on out there? I want to thank you guys, like always, all my brothers, all my sisters, for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. I have a really, really exciting treat for you guys. We got my boy, Jimmy Jardine, excellent evaluator, knows his stuff. He is here to join us in this mock.
What's up, guys? What's up, Harrison? How you doing? Everybody doing good?
Yeah, man. So this is exciting. We're going to get into this, and this is fun. So this is the first live mock I've done before. I'm excited to do it. You guys know, Jimmy as well. I'm big into all the prospects. I like a lot of draft eval. I have an interesting one on a cornerback that I know that you guys all like. You may not like what I have to say, but I guess we'll see. But I'm excited. I can't wait to get into it. And again, remember, you guys, this is a give and take. I mean, this is a group. We're doing this as a collective. So you guys, you get to vote. You get to pick who you want to bring in. If you have a certain prospect you want me to talk about or you want me and Jimmy to get into, you guys get to vote on who you want us to take. Heck, we're even going to look at trades. So I am excited. I am stoked. And let's get into this. So let me pop up the screen and share that with you guys. Okay, so here we go. Let's do it. So, of course, choosing the Jets. What else am I going to do? We got 7 rounds, speed of normal. Are you guys ready? Let's do it. So, like I was saying before, we're going to make some trades if you guys want. You guys can, tune in, say anything you guys, want to say, anything you want to bring up. So, again, we got the live chat going. Feel free to, bring anything up in there. Feel free to mention anything you want to talk about, any prospects you want us to talk about. And so as we figured, Trevor Lawrence is first off the board. And I mean, shocker, right? I mean, who saw that coming? So obviously,
Oh, I was just going to say, and I'm excited to speak on some of like the back end of the draft. I think Green Bean said it great in his last podcast when he had Murph from Top Billin', when he had him on, he's more excited about the back half of the draft than he is the front half. And
man.
So
I totally agree.
If you guys have prospects that you think are 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, I've done quite a deep dive. I know Harrison's done a bunch of deep dives on a bunch of players. So we've done our homework. That's for sure.
Definitely, man. And this is going to be exciting. So again, like I mentioned before, we have more guys hopping in. So again, you guys know, I'm big on draft eval. We got the chat going. You can ask us anything you want. If there's somebody you want us to talk about, somebody you want to bring up. So like my boy Jimmy mentioned, the back end of the draft is quite loaded. What's beautiful about this draft is Daniel Jeremiah said it himself. The deepest position in this draft is the wide receiver class. And Joe Douglas has done a pretty damn good job, fixing up that wide receiver class, bringing in Corey Davis. I know Jimmy's a big fan of his, 5th overall pick in his draft for a reason. Absolutely killed it at Western Michigan. I mean, the guy's got the most, I believe he still has the most receiving yards in college history, I think.
I don't know about his college stats too much. I know that as a prospect, he was coming out and was probably one of the best route runners of that draft class. Had a little bit of an issue with drops, but what I like in a player, when I do a player evaluation, is I like to see them face the adversity, to face those kind of challenges, and how they progress from there. I want to see how they rebound. I want to see how they take that negative and turn it into a positive. And Corey Davis, if you look, I called him on Weapons Hot. I called him back in February as a Jets free agent target. And what I've loved about him is his positive stats keep trending up every year. His negative stats keep trending down every year. He's got that drop thing under control. He's still improving his route running. He's improved his blocking. He's improved his yards per catch. He's improved his yak. He's improved everything. And being in a Tennessee offense where pretty much the entire offense is revolving around Derrick Henry, let's just be honest. And when you have A.J. Brown on the other side, and you're pretty much the number 2, number 3 receiver, to still get COVID and almost break 1,000 yards. Sign that guy to my team all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. And Corey Davis is a really interesting prospect because, again, we mentioned back in 2017, he was the 5th overall pick. He was the first wide receiver to go off that board. And I was pretty confident, like 99% sure, but I wanted to look it up to make sure. Yeah, Corey Davis broke college football. Corey Davis has the most receiving yards in FBS history with 5,278. And I believe it's 52 touchdowns, is second in all of FBS history. Now, as we know, when he got into the NFL, it took a little while to adjust, get into the, the groove. But last season, he got close to 1,000 yards. So I see, people are, mentioning some comments they want to get going. I don't blame you. So again, I feel like wide receiver is pretty good. Now, obviously, Trevor Lawrence first went off the board. Urban Meyer basically came out and said that they're going Trevor Lawrence. And why not? I mean, he's the number 1 prospect easily, unequivocally, as we know. I mean, Dak Wilson is great, but Trevor Lawrence was the guy forever. Coming out of high school, he was the guy. So I don't think they would pass on him. Obviously, the mock didn't pass on him. I think trading back here is a mistake. Obviously, we got rid of Sam Darnold. We made a statement. As I was saying, in my take, what's up, John? Shout out to you guys in the chat. Appreciate you guys being there. We make a statement. When you take a quarterback at 2, you're making a statement. And you guys remember my big issue was having Sam Darnold still on that team because there was going to be a controversy. Half the fan base still believed Darnold could be the guy, regardless of the stats, regardless of being the worst in the league, feeling, because the coaching wasn't there or this wasn't there. You can't have that kind of controversy. We had that controversy, when we had Mark, then you bring in Geno. We had the controversy with Mark and Tebow. You needed a clear cut. So this is big. We're making a statement. This is our quarterback. I don't think we should trade down. You guys know how I feel. You guys know I want Zach. I'll let Jimmy chime in, and then you guys vote. So Jimmy's going to tell you guys what you think, and you guys vote. The option is we can look at the trade downs if you want, or we could go quarterback. We can go Zach. What do you guys think?
So I like, obviously, Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson in his pro day and when you actually do an objective deep dive into his game tape, I think that Wilson has closed the gap between him and Lawrence. I'm not saying he's better than Lawrence. I'm not Chris Sims. I'm not going to go all wacky on you like that. But I think Zach Wilson's taken it to legitimately QB 1A, 1B. So I think he's closed the door. I think there's a gap. My QB 3, and mentioning the quarterback controversy, San Francisco is also playing a real dangerous game right now, is keeping Jimmy G and being open about drafting a quarterback. That's going to be rough. I have in my mocks, I have Mac Jones going to San Francisco at 3, but I think right here, Zach Wilson all day.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I can't hesitate here. You guys have seen my takes. You know that I've been high on Zach as going back as far as we possibly can. He's my guy. Love him. So I'm not even hesitating here. We're taking Zach Wilson, obviously. Going into the QB picks. Here's our boy. I can't even believe he's got him listed as 5. Let's see this for a second. He's got Sewell, Pitts, Chase. Okay. You know what? Okay. If you want to put those 3 guys talent-wise, they're some of the most 3 talented guys easily in the draft. All 3 of those guys you could argue are, easily, unequivocally the best at their positions. But
they are the best at their positions. I am kind of hesitant to put, and I know I might catch hell for this, but I'm hesitant to put Penei Sewell above Zach Wilson on the big board, only because he opted out in 2020. I get why people opt out, so don't at me with that stuff. But if you didn't play in 2020 and then Zach Wilson has like a career year, you can't really put him as higher on the big board. Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, yeah, there's an argument there. Kyle Pitts probably the best player in this draft.
Yeah, you could definitely make that argument. I mean, he's arguably easily the best receiver in the draft, and he's a tight end. So the guy's got unbelievable athleticism, unbelievable agility, great hands, and not the worst blocker. People comment, oh, he's not the greatest blocker, but if freaking Kyle Pitts is putting up close to 200 yards a game, I don't care if he misses his blocks. That's fine with me. So Jimmy was talking about, with the rankings, the rankings don't mean anything when it comes to quarterbacks because we know everyone's going quarterback with those first couple of picks. Quarterback is the most important position always, all the time on any team. So however other prospects are any sport, yeah. So regardless of how the prospects are ranked, it's always going to be quarterbacks with the top picks. Hell, teams reach for quarterback. We've seen that all the time. Teams will reach and take a quarterback and cause actual talent to fall. We had that when we got, Jamal Adams. Thank God he's gone. And we had that when we got Leonard Williams. So, but yeah, so Zach is gone. Now we're looking at the board. I love this right now because I totally felt the same way. I've been saying for a long time, this what you see in front of you right now, this is my quarterback board. My quarterback board is Lawrence at 1, Wilson at 2, Lance at 3, and Fields at 4. I've been saying for a while that I think Trey Lance is, if you're looking for, that athletic guy that can roll out of the pocket, make it in that kind of a system. I said myself, you guys remember my first, podcast that I said, I feel like Zach Wilson, Trey Lance checks all my boxes, unlike Justin Fields. But, with the D2 prospect, I had issues with Carson Wentz in the past. I can't pass on Zach. But I love this. I've been saying for a while, I think Lance would go 3 to the Niners, and that makes a lot of sense.
I have Lance as my I had him a couple weeks ago as my QB7.
Oh wow.
Yeah. and he actually moved up. I honestly think based on sample size, based on competition, I'm not saying competition is the factor, but it is a factor. I had Kyle Trask ahead of Trey Lance. But here's the thing.
That's crazy.
Now hear me out. Hear me out, guys, okay? Hear me out on this. I said that if Trey Lance would have stayed in school one more year, he comes out in 2022 as the consensus #1 draft pick, hands down. He is the Trevor Lawrence of 2022 draft if he stays in school. 17 games at the FCS level is just a really small sample size combined with very low competition. And again, not saying competition is the key, but it is a key. So if you combine a small sample size with low competition, that's just a big red flag to me. So I had him down there. Now his pro day, he killed his pro day. Trey Lance killed his pro day. So I actually moved him above Kyle Trask, and I have him as my QB6. But I think it's Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and a little bit of a surprise, Kellen Mond at number 5.
It's interesting. It's an interesting way to go. But yeah, you guys have all seen, my takes on the quarterbacks and the things I look for with pocket awareness. I'm not looking at the traditional things that most guys look for. And with Zach Wilson checking all of my boxes, Trey Lance did as well. I loved Trey Lance, liked everything about him. But you guys remember with Carson Wentz, I was very hesitant on him. Like you mentioned with the D2, the competition, I was worried about injury history because D2 to D1 is a whole different animal, let alone D1 to the NFL. And Wentz has been nothing but being and get hurt all the time.
The FCS level, there are a few top teams, and then there's kind of the everyone else. You know what I mean? So, you're not playing Appalachian State every week, which is another top team. You're not playing, weirdly enough, Montana is a super good FCS team. So you're not playing those every week is the point. And I just want to see more from Trey Lance is what I mean.
I feel you. I mean, with the things I look for, I love the kid. I think he checks literally all my boxes.
Physical attributes, very, very 100%. Arm strength, accuracy, mobility. He's got it all.
I love everything about him. Yeah.
Get him that experience. Get him that mental wherewithal to make that jump. Carson Wentz had the experience, and that's why he was able to go from North Dakota State University up to Philly and do really well.
Yeah. And you guys know, just moving on with the other guys, you guys know how I feel about Fields. I've told you all about him. I told you, the things that I'm not a fan of. Seth brings up Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the most interesting case, really, because when it comes to Mac Jones, I mentioned him on, when I did my QB eval podcast as well. It's so hard to get a gauge on him because of the team he's part of. You guys remember one of my biggest knocks on Justin Fields was I felt that, just watching him, he's 100% a system quarterback. The system is created to allow him to succeed. It's got fail-safes built in, the fake read progressions that I mentioned, that whole idea of reading, seeing and being able to notice a fake read progression. I don't like his pocket awareness. But with Mac Jones, the biggest issue I have with him is, one, the system, but also the talent he's working with. I mean, the guy's got Devonta Smith on one side and Jalen Waddle on the other. There are NFL teams that don't have that kind of wide receiver talent. Sam Darnold would have killed somebody last year to get that kind of wide receiver talent. And the offensive line, I mean, you got Landon Dickerson at center, who, you know, easily would have been a first-round pick if it weren't for injury. So that's my big thing with Mac Jones. Like, I love what I see in him, but I just get worried that, you know, it's like I'm seeing it in the Saban system with the way it's set up, with the talent around him, and I just don't know if it's going to translate.
So the thing about Mac Jones is to your point, and you have a very good point, and it's very fair, right? So he's got such a talented cast around him. I could speak the same way about Kyle Trask in Florida as well. So they're so good around him that he kind of gets lost in the mix. You know what I mean? Like, Mac Jones is never going to wow you with arm strength. He's got a decent strong arm. He's got really good accuracy, but everybody in the top tier does, you know? So he doesn't have a wow factor, but what I will tell you that you get with Mac Jones is you will get a surgical automatic quarterback machine week in, week out, play in, play out. He knows the system. He probably reads defenses better and faster than anyone else, including Trevor Lawrence in this draft. But he just doesn't wow you with the physical aspect. And he's so solid and so just repetitive that it doesn't look like he's doing anything spectacular. You know, that's the biggest downfall, I think, with Mac Jones, is that talent. I mean, if a critic's knock on him is going to be, well, he had all this talent. Okay. Same with Zach Wilson. Like, oh, well, he had a line full of 26-year-olds facing off against 18-year-olds. Yeah, well, hey, if you're going to be mad at the kid for having talent around him, like, I'll take that.
Yeah, that was a big thing with, you know, Zach Wilson. That's why so many people, you know, I don't want to stay too long on the quarterbacks, but that's why, you know, based on, like I told you guys, you know, the specific things I look for. I mentioned, you know, NFL translatable traits, the things, you know, not just the throw, the logic behind the throw, the mobility in the pocket. I love that coastal game. People talk, you know, that coastal game. They're like, oh my God, he lost. That's the game that sold me on Zach Wilson. Man, when his pocket was atrocious and collapsing all over him, I loved his ability to adjust, his ability to adapt, his ability to read the breakdown of the pocket and innately feel it. Man, that did it for me. I mean, I loved that coastal game. So many people are like, oh, they lost. Well, then you got to look closer for what you need to look for.
Zach Wilson almost
coastal
won
game he almost did. They almost came back at the end. And those throws at the end were beautiful. That fake spike, throwing it on the sideline, perfect pass.
And everybody talks about his wrist and his thumb injury. Like, give me a quarterback that'll injure himself on a pass that was intercepted because the receiver ran the wrong route, and Zach Wilson chases down the defensive back and tackles him at the 1 yard line, saving a touchdown and hurts his wrist. Give me that guy. But anyway, I agree with Donnie Baker. Enough with the quarterbacks. We got our guy for sure, my man. I just love having the conversation. So, Noel, thank you so much for coming in, my friend. Thank you so much.
We love all you guys. And again, keep the comments coming. Keep it going. The reason I paused it, though, getting back to that now, I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to try to potentially trade up. That's why I wanted to pause the draft. So as you know, we're sitting at 23 right now, which isn't a bad situation. I mean, there's a lot of great talent that's going to be there. You guys know how I feel. I feel like you can't pass on a guy like Creed Humphrey. You need that great center. You can't risk him being there at 34. You need that next Nick Mangold that shows those cerebral traits. But my question for you guys, and if you're interested, would you want to try to move up to potentially package, you know, the 23rd overall pick and maybe a third rounder or even, you know, our second rounder to try to move up and potentially get a lock of like a JC Horn or even maybe a Devonta Smith? So I see Matthias is on my side. He wants Creed Humphrey, and I'm with you, brother. So does anybody want to try to trade up?
I don't think
if anyone's interested.
I don't think the algorithm for the mocks has the trade in effect, because I think New England would probably look to trade up with Carolina at this point. So, I mean,
No, I'm with you. And Donnie, I wanted to give you guys the option of potentially doing it. I was going to actually say, chiming in my 2 cents, I don't think it's the best move because right now the biggest thing is cultivating picks. I think we need to have more picks than less picks. And Jimmy mentioned it before, with the later round picks, that's where you guys hit. That's where a great GM like Joe Douglas is going to earn his money, make his living, get those guys that you didn't know about. And that's why at the end of the draft, I did it with Green Bean, shout out to when I was on, Green Bean's podcast, I think it was 2 Mondays ago, we traded back in the 5th round for like a haul. We got like 5 extra picks and we built an unbelievable talent. I couldn't believe all the talent we got in those later rounds.
I don't feel like Joe Douglas is a trade up kind of GM when it comes to the premium rounds. I think he's more of a trade back. He's more of like the passive guy. Like, yeah, okay, I got my eye on somebody, so you go ahead and take this pick. Yeah. But I agree with Donnie. I wouldn't trade 23 at this point. I think it would cost too much to get in at this right now, especially with Sewell, Pitts, Chase, Waddle, Slater still on the board.
Yep, I totally agree. Yeah, it would cost too much, especially if depending on if you want to move up, a couple of spots wouldn't be enough to move up. You might need to package like the 34th, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, no. So let's roll this baby through. Let's see what happens.
Pick 34 is absolutely vital, guys. Vital.
Yeah. I expected that. Penei Sewell, that's a great move by the Bengals. Pitts is gone. Chase is off the board. Mac Jones went to the Broncos. That's a big one. Oh.
That makes sense.
Got some interesting picks here. Ooh, so we have some trade offers. Okay, I'm going to come back to those in a second. I'll ask you guys. I don't think we should, but okay, so let's see. So we got J.C. Horn went high, man. J.C. Horn, and this is pretty impressive. J.C. Horn went off the board before Patrick Surtain did. And that's not a bad pick.
I saw it somewhere. I forget where, but somebody said Patrick Surtain is overrated.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I
don't think I would either.
Because again, people are going by, if you go by 2020, he wasn't the greatest. I mean, Newsome had a better year in 2020. Horn technically had a better year. Asante Samuel arguably had a better year. But over the last 3 years, Patrick Surtain has consistently been a top cornerback in the SEC. That's all you need to say about him. And when it comes to cornerbacks, there's always potential of erratic play, especially with different receivers you're playing. He's consistently been one of the best in a top league. So he's definitely not overrated, but taking J.C. Horn before him isn't a bad idea. I love that kid. I had him on my board for over a year now. Newsome went a little high. That was the one I was going to mention with you guys. And I know a lot of Jet fans want Newsome at 23. I'm seeing that a lot now. Newsome. My big look at when I see Newsome, he never played a full season in all of the 3 years he's been at Northwestern. He's, never played a full season. He's had, I believe it was ankle injuries at one point. I think had a groin injury at another point. And also there's issues, with size potentially. People say, he's tall, but he's not the most physical of cornerbacks. How's he going to be in a press kind of coverage situation?
Ankle injuries and groin injuries are devastating for corners because of how they have to break and how they have to change direction. Obviously a running back as well, but for a corner, because I played defensive back in high school 20 years and 80 pounds ago, but it's when you're traveling full speed one way and then you have to dig, stop, turn, pivot, and go the other direction in a snap of a finger, the high ankle sprain, some stuff like that other positions can come back from really, really hurts cornerback value. So, but I think the Caleb Farley surgery is showing up in this algorithm right now.
Yeah, which is an interesting situation, and I was actually going to bring that up. I think he's still on the board, I believe. I think he is. Caleb Farley is still on the board, and again, he has injury now. But
they have him rated at 31, dude.
That's low. That is low. And that's proof that, injury can knock you down the board. Hey, look at Landon Dickerson. If Landon Dickerson never got hurt, he would unequivocally be a first round pick. There wouldn't be a team he would have been gone already, probably by the 23rd pick, if he never had injury before. So injury can cause people to drop. A lot of people look at Caleb Farley's injury and feel that he's going to rebound and going to be fine. So that could be an interesting. I mean, you guys know how I feel. You guys know I feel like you can't pass on Creed Humphrey. And this is one thing I love about the PFN mock draft. This is the first time I've seen Creed about where he belongs. Because too many people, have Creed at 30-something, 40-something. Blows my mind. There is no – when you look at all these other positions I mentioned, like a cornerback, there's depth. Every other position I could think of, there's, depth. At wide receiver, there's unbelievable amounts of depth. At cornerback, there's depth. You have guys like Eric Stokes you can get later on, Asante Samuel Jr., Elijah Molden. The only player that there is not going to be depth on, in my opinion, is Creed Humphrey. Me and Jimmy have talked a lot about this guy. When it comes to the cerebral traits of a center, like you see with Nick Mangold, pointing out a defensive shift, pointing out a misalignment, pointing out how this now means that this guy's coming, altering a play. Creed Humphrey literally said in his interviews, he's a film junkie. He prides himself on knowing his offense inside and out, studying defenses. He's going to be the next Nick Mangold. And that people say we're fine with Connor McGovern. If you think you're just fine at the center position, you're not okay. That's not good. You never want to be just fine at that position. The center is so much more than a blocker. He's a second quarterback on that field. Again, just think back.
Your guards better.
Yeah.
Your guards become better when you have a center that can slap them upside the helmet and tell them what to do. You know what I mean? And Creed is that guy. And Creed has the mindset and the mentality of he doesn't care if he comes in here as a rookie. He will tell a 5th, 6th, 7th year player what to do if he sees him screwing up.
Yeah.
And that's what the offensive line needs.
No, 100%.
We just drafted our franchise quarterback. He's objectively better than Sam Darnold. We just drafted him. Protect the kid. Joe Douglas said today that he wants to surround Zach Wilson, or not, he didn't say Zach Wilson, but he wants to surround them with talent, surround a quarterback with talent. And that's how you do it. You start in the trenches. I think Joe Douglas knows that. I think since they hit defense so heavily in free agency, I think they're going to push really early on the offensive line.
I completely agree. And the best example, we talked about it when Sam was taken in 2018. Mike McCagnon told his parents they were going to surround him and give him help, and he lied through his damn teeth. There were no offensive players really taken at that point. Well, Joe Douglas rectifies that. Yeah. Joe Douglas rectifies that by his first draft. The second he comes in, he takes an offensive lineman in the first round, something that we hadn't done since 2006. And back in 2006, that's when we got to Brickishaw and Mangold, that left tackle center combination. Bingo. And that's 100% what I see this being. Creed Humphrey, again, that cerebral center, able to be more than a blocker. Him and Becton are going to be that DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Nick Mangold combination.
Well, I think Joe Douglas even was making good on Mac's promise to Sam Darnold's family when like day one. Yeah, when the Ryan Khalil thing, it was a big swing and he missed, but he tried. I'd rather have a GM try. It was a low risk financially, bringing him out of retirement. It was a 1-year deal. So he was trying to make good on that promise that Mac had really no intention of keeping. He didn't know football from a hole in the ground, so it doesn't matter what Mac thought. But Joe Douglas came out the gates making swings at that offensive line. Did every signing hit? No, of course not. But when you come in after free agency, after the draft, after everything is all squared away, and you're actually only being able to go at the waiver wire, like there's only so much you can do, and at least he tried. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I completely agree. At least he tried, bringing in Khalil. And so many people say, because we didn't try to get Lindsley in free agency, that means McGovern is going to be our center.
Well, who says I don't think there weren't phone calls made.
Well, I hope there weren't.
I honestly, there's nothing that has been out there that says to me that Joe Douglas didn't at least have conversations with Thuney and Lindsley. there. I mean, due diligence would say that he actually, at the very least, made the call. Hey, you want to play for the Jets? No, all right, peace. You know, like something happened. But
No,
how
I
can you
agree. Yeah.
compete? How can you compete with the Chiefs? You know,
No, that's
how
exactly
can
it. Yeah, no, that was the thing with doing it. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. I mean, when there's a coveted free agent available, the guy everybody wants, he's going to take the Chiefs. Remember,
sure?
I talked about this in the past as well. You know, we were all thinking quarterback was our black hole. You know, quarterback was going to be the big deciding factor in free agency. It turned out it was, winning pedigree. That was the
Yeah.
deciding factor. Because if a guy's got a choice between big money at Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and that defense or big money with the Jets, he's taking KC.
Dude, the big uglies up front, they have a different mindset, man. They're not a cornerback. They're not a like a hyped up wide receiver. They're not a hyped up running back. They want, like, the trench mindset is different. Like, they grind it out. Not saying that all receivers and running backs and all those skill positions are just driven by money, but the offensive linemen are just a different breed, man. They're a different breed, and if you can put them in a system that they like with people that they like, they'll sign with you, man. It's money isn't the first priority there.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And if you guys know, me and Jimmy, we could talk for 3 hours and not move anywhere further. No, it's both of us. I'm the same way, man. I'm big on prospects. We could just keep going and going and going. But all I will say before
content. I mean, if you guys are liking the conversation, I got nothing to do tonight.
I'm here, man. Let's do it. Let's talk. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it, but my take, you guys have seen it on Twitter. I wasn't a fan of Lindsley at all. I think not being in on him has nothing to do with not taking a center. So we are taking Creed Humphrey right here, which is an excellent pick at 23.
I have looked at every snap this man has played. And I've also I was arguing with somebody on Green Bean's video for the the contest winner mock draft, and Landon Dickerson is a really good center, but I stand by my statement that Creed Humphrey is probably the best center prospect in the last decade.
Okay, so a lot of more guys off the board. Some interesting takes that we've seen go. Caleb Farley is gone. Not surprised
Twitter
there.
are you asking for?
Yeah, whose Twitter are you asking for, my man Noel? You want mine or Jimmy's?
Or both.
We'll give you both. We'll give you both.
Mine's in my name. All my social media is at Jets by Jimmy. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube for that matter. I'm actually banned on Facebook right now for about 21 more days, but
That's funny, yeah, man. But no, Noel, I just shot it to you. That was I appreciate it, man. Definitely want to give me a follow. That'd be some good stuff. So it looks like we have 2 trades on the board right now. Just gonna give you guys the option. I'll show you. So with the 34th pick, we have the Browns offering us the 59th, which is a pretty decent drop. You have to remember, a 34th overall pick is basically still like a first-round pick, give or take. It's like a late first-round pick. So dropping to 59 is a big deal, but we get another second next year, which means next year we'd have 3 seconds. Then the other offer we're getting is a little bit higher. So instead of dropping to 59, we drop to 48.
59 is a no-go, first and foremost.
Personally, I mean, if you guys want my opinion, I think there's too much talent here at 34. For example, I see it right here, and I'm going to show you guys quick. This blows my mind. How the hell is Gregory Rousseau still on the board?
He won't be.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, it's interesting because we see this, with people sitting out, especially with COVID, people go back to the tape and go, oh man, look what this guy did. Like, oh, look what Jalen Phillips did in 2020 and this kind of stuff. So they look at that and they go, oh, maybe he's better. But they forget, what they saw the year before. Same thing kind of happened with Jamar Chase, where, people were saying, oh, maybe Devonta Smith is potentially the best wide receiver in this draft. Then they went back and watched Jamar Chase and they were like, never mind.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's a lot of interesting options here. I wouldn't trade back. So just to throw them out to you guys, Gregory Rousseau is still on the board, literally considered one of the best edge rushers in this draft. I think the kid had close to 20 sacks or something crazy back in 2019?
Just wanted to highlight a comment. Donnie Baker, bold statement, Jimmy. I hope Creed is there at 23. I do too, man, because there is a very, very. If we don't take him, Pittsburgh will. Just saying.
You nailed it. And that's really funny because, yeah, I was telling guys, in my podcast I did last night that when I did the one with Green Bean, the option was, take Creed at 23 or trade back. And I was telling everyone, it's up to you. We can definitely trade back, get some picks. The offer on the table at that point was a good one. I think it was like a third. I want to say, I think it was. I don't remember. It might have been the Bengals, but it was a decent pick opportunity. But I said just dropping that much, you could miss out on Creed. And my prediction was just looking at the board, he would get taken by the Steelers. And that's exactly what happened. They traded the pick. 2 picks later, Steelers took Creed Humphrey. Because again, Creed Humphrey is a first-round pick. And honestly, people are saying, we should wait till 34. Like you said, I'd go as far to say we'll be lucky if he's there at 23.
Yeah, I mean, Marquise Pouncey retiring, I think that if we take Creed Humphrey, watch for Pittsburgh to take Landon Dickerson. I think Dickerson can still go first round, but they're going to want to replace Pouncey, immediatly.
Yeah. So just throwing some names out there, guys. Again, you saw that Rousseau was still on the board. You guys know
I still say Wyatt Davis, man. I say Wyatt Davis at 34 because you add Creed Humphrey, you add Wyatt Davis at left guard, you move Connor McGovern to right guard, you have George Fant serviceable for right now because I want to tackle later on. I'll let you guys know when we get to that point, but just these 2 draft picks right here, if we drafted Creed Humphrey and Wyatt Davis, you're looking at a top 10 O-line for the New York Jets in 2021.
That's funny, man. We talked about this. We've been talking about this a while because as I've told you guys, feel free to check Twitter. My mock draft hasn't changed. My mock draft since free agency basically ended and we made all of our big splashes, my mock has consistently been the same. It's been Zach Wilson at 2. It's been Creed Humphrey at 23, and then either Wyatt Davis or Landon Dickerson at 34. I prefer Wyatt Davis if he's still on the board. So that's actually why I want to go take a look. Oh, man, he's still there. So, yeah. So Wyatt Davis is – I can't believe – it's, again, that injury crap. It's the same thing like with Landon Dickerson.
According to the algorithm, it's an 8-position reach, but I don't even think it's a reach at all because he will not be there in round 3.
I'm shocked he's listed at 42. Honestly, and I would say this right now, I'm confident.
It's the injury. It's the injury.
100%. Yeah.
It's not debilitating.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I was going to say, the same thing that with the injury, it wasn't like he took a cut and it popped or something. It was a bad injury. And bad injuries happen. This is a contact sport. That kind of stuff happens. But he's healing well. That's like the reports, just like with Landon Dickerson.
Medical science has advanced even just in the last 3-4 years. These athletes can come back from, an ACL tear 20 years ago. You're pretty much done, man. That happened to me. I tore my ACL in high school. I had 3 Division I scholarships to play cornerback for Boise State, Arizona State, and University of Washington. And then I tore my ACL, gone. Didn't even have the coaches call me. They sent me a letter.
So you guys know I'm with you on Wyatt Davis. I think that's the way to go because, again, that's been my mock. My mock has been quarterback, center, the guard, and then with my next 2 picks, I go corner because that's our next biggest need. But, I'm with you guys. So if you guys want to throw some votes in, again, the options are everyone on here. Gregory Rousseau is an option. Technically, Tony's on the board again. I don't see him as an outside guy. He's not physical enough. He's not strong enough. He's destined to be a slot receiver at the next level.
He can be a possession guy, but I see him more like a Lawrence Cager. A little bit of a better Lawrence Cager, to be fair. But I see him as a red zone possession guy, back shoulder fade type of receiver.
Yeah, so like Noel says here, Wyatt Davis and Creed Humphrey would drastically improve our O-line. Zach Wilson would have all day to completely throw the ball. That's what we're talking about. That's been the whole point right here. Our biggest issue for the longest time has been offensive line. We need to build through the trenches. This is the way to do it. So you guys know that I had Wyatt Davis there. So did Jimmy. So we're doing it. So we got Wyatt Davis. Bashing's off the board.
Noel, with your comment, Noel.
There goes Rousseau.
if you're talking about like the biggest knock, quote unquote knock on Zach Wilson is he's had like this stud offensive line for his whole career. Why wouldn't you want that for him in the NFL? I just don't understand it. Why do you want him being like, well, you better show me what you can do with the crap offensive line? Like, let me build the wall, Joe Douglas. Like, just I have an application in for a scouting internship, New York Jets. Just saying.
Yeah, and I'm 100% with you, man. And yeah, you got to build through the trenches, and we saw it with Joe. You know, that's one of the things I love about him the most: his focus on the trenches. He said it before. His offensive line and defensive line philosophy that includes edge rushers. And what did you go out and do in free agency? He built the defensive trenches. He brought in Sheldon Rankins, who could be just like Quinnen on his best days. He brought in Curry, who's an excellent veteran edge rusher, who's an elite presence, that's still good at getting to the quarterback. The guy had 10 quarterback hits last year. He would have been ranked high on our team. And then, of course, we got Carl Lawson, who you guys know that nothing
Dude, our front seven is scary. Our front seven is scary.
Well, we still, the biggest thing we have now is we fixed our trenches. We can get to the quarterback. We are still a little weak at 4-3 outside linebacker. We could definitely use a guy that could play that position.
Yeah, which is where I think number 66 should go. Outside linebacker.
So if we're going that route, I'm going to look at who's actually available. Obviously, Owusu Koromo is off the board already. But one guy I really like if you want to go outside linebacker would be Nick Bolton.
What the hell does Indianapolis want? Look at that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I was going to show this to you guys quick. So 2 trade offers. That's insane.
I'm kind of with Donnie on this. Like, I don't want to do. I mean, my personal opinion. I'll still agree with the chat. I'll still agree with you, Harrison. I'm not a fan of the trades. I just want to put a draft board out of what I would want in this position. But like I said, that's just me.
Yeah, the way I would look at it with you guys is, it comes down to, like Joe always says, one of his favorite sayings is when opportunity meets value. And the value here, you have to times our pick by 2. By 2. To get to where the Colts want us to drop. So there's no value in that one, in my personal opinion. The other one is the 95th pick. That's still a pretty big job just to get the 3rd round pick in the next draft. So yeah, 66 is still a premium pick. And if we look at, let's see who some of the top guys available still. Let's see here, thinking cornerback is obviously, one of our next biggest needs. If you look at who's available. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get how Tyson Campbell was rated so low. Like, I don't get that. I don't understand how.
There's my guy right there. There's my guy right there.
Which one?
Kerry Vincent Jr. Just did a video on him a couple days ago.
But he could definitely be had later on. He could definitely be had after this.
I'm not saying take him
right now. Elijah Molden is a very interesting pick at this one. He was originally considered more around where you would see guys like Rodarius Williams and where you would see guys like Kerry Vincent, but he shot up boards. And Molden shot up boards because of his versatility. He's measured out big enough to play outside corner. He's physical enough to. He's fast, but he also plays in the slot because he's played in the slot his majority of time at Washington. So he's an interesting cornerback to go with. I don't understand how Tyson Campbell's still available. Like, honestly, I'm guessing I don't see Stokes. I'm guessing Eric Stokes must have gone already.
Oh, he's gone.
I don't get how Tyson Campbell was considered the better cornerback on that team. Stokes blew everyone's mind with his 4.25 40 and his unbelievable measurables and his excellent grading and coverage. But Tyson Campbell was considered a first-round pick. You guys just want to, keep that in mind. Tyson Campbell is a ready-to-go on day one outside CB1. He is considered a first-round pick. So if you guys want to go corner, I would definitely say I don't understand how Tyson Campbell's still on the board. I don't think there's any – rated at 86 is insanity to me. He should have been gone probably back in the 2nd round. So that would be a good way to go if you guys want to go corner, either a guy like Williams or Campbell.
Can you check edge? I'm kind of with Donnie on this. Man, Donnie, you and me, brother.
So edge is a good way to go. I wouldn't mind edge. It's not a bad pick, but I actually like what we got right now. I mean, you guys know we got Carl Lawson. You remember all the stats I gave you on him. 32 QB hits last year.
Scroll down there to Harrison. Scrolled it right there.
Right there.
Patrick Jones.
That's why I had a feeling. Yep.
Donnie, let me tell you something about Patrick Jones. I have a video on my channel highlighting Patrick Jones. This guy is a a natural down defensive end, which fits perfectly with our 4-3 and a 4-2-5 hybrid. He is an absolute scheme fit for that Sala and Ulbrich defense, and he is a monster, bro. He's a monster. No real injury history to speak of. He has bend ability. He has bull rush ability. He has long arms. I love this guy. I love him. In my opinion, Patrick Jones is probably the third best edge rusher in this class behind Russo and Kwity Paye. That's my call.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm with you, man. Me and Jimmy, on the Weapons Hot, we talked about Patrick Jones a lot. One of the first times I was on Weapons Hot, I was telling him I have Patrick Jones as the top edge rusher on my board. I love Patrick Jones. I think he's legitimately one of the best edge rushers in this draft. You can definitely put him in conversation up there.
Sure, and edge rush is again, you can't. It's really hard to say where you stack up an edge rusher, only because some teams run a 3-4, some teams run a 4-3. So like a scheme fit is really big. Like Kwity Paye for a 4-3 defense is my number one. Gregory Russo for a 3-4 is my number one. So, hey, Green Bean.
I'm with you. Yeah, man. Shout out to Green Bean. I appreciate you being here, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. Love it. Love having you here. Even Green Bean agrees. Yeah, man, I love Patrick Jones. I'm a big Patrick Jones guy. So I would ask you guys right now, either we're going to go, I would say Patrick Jones, Tyson Campbell, or Elijah Molden. It seems like Patrick Jones definitely has the win on here.
See, now, here's the thing, though. This algorithm is still wrong. I think Patrick Jones is rated a lot higher on NFL teams' boards than it is on this site. So, like, in real life, like, Green Bean I love you to death, man. And he's always the one saying, we got to read the board, guys. We got to read the board. I totally agree. However, in real life, I honestly think that Patrick Jones is going to be gone shortly after 66, probably in the late 60s, 70s. So
I'm 100% with you, man. No, I totally agree. I think this is exactly where Patrick Jones belongs. Patrick Jones, I could say, could go anywhere from the 50s to around the 70s. This is an excellent pick for him. Definitely seems like he's the way people want to go, get to the quarterback. Again, I love, the Carl Lawson with the Vinnie Curry. I think Bryce Huff is massively underrated. I think Bryce Huff could totally have a breakout year this year.
Memphis produces, man. Memphis produces some dogs.
I love Huff. I really do. I was huge on him, out of Memphis. Loved the kid. I was blown away that he went undrafted. Couldn't believe nobody took him. Love that we got him. I think he's got a lot of potential. Even Bleacher Report, as of I believe it was 2 weeks ago, has Bryce Huff listed as the 2021 Jets player to break out this season. So that's why I was kind of leaning toward corner.
But yeah. I agree.
That's the reason I was leaning toward corner, just because I really like, the combination with Lawson, Curry, Franklin Myers can play on the edge potentially if you got Rankins and Williams on the inside. You got, again, Huff, who could potentially be a guy. But Green Bean mentioned Zuniga. You guys know how I feel on Zuniga. I hope he proves me wrong. I really, really hope he does. Just
don't say it, because I think CJ's in here, man. I think CJ's in the chat, so don't say it because they'll start yelling at you.
So yeah, you guys know I've told you guys how I feel on Zuniga. Again, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he winds up to be great. I really do. But I'm not saying.
Put Zuniga in the position to have to fight for his job. Period.
Yeah. Well, my issue with Zuniga was, not that he's not talented. It's that he was hurt a lot in college, and he was drafted basically on raw talent alone. He was drafted because when he played, he looked unbelievable, and he's a physical specimen. But I didn't like the pick. If we took him, maybe even just in the 4th, but I was thinking more 5th, then I would have loved it. But I just felt where he was taken, there were a lot more talent that I liked at that spot. That's just how I felt with that pick. That's why it rubbed me the wrong way. But yeah, it seems like, John, shout out to Green Bean right there. What's up, my brother? But yeah, it seems like Jones is the guy. So we're going to go with Patrick Jones, get the draft.
By the way,
like I said, we could be here all day with you guys talking.
By the way, Green Bean, I did finish your contest winner draft video, and it's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Nice. Okay. So we got the picks going in, and there goes, close that for a second. there goes Nick Bolton. And again, if you guys are looking for a 4-3 outside linebacker, that's a guy I really like. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. So he went at 79. I was kind of hoping he'd be there at 86. There's a really good chance he could be in the real NFL draft. So he's gone, but that's a good guy to look at for a 4-3 outside linebacker. So now since we took an edge rusher, we took 2 offensive linemen, I'll bring it up to show you guys. If I can figure it out.
Click on the team icon on the left.
The team icon on the left.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Thank you. So obviously we got Zach at 2, my guy. We got Creed, Wyatt. I love this. You guys know these are 4 guys that I have to not stop talking about. So this is a great draft, but I really feel like we need to go with a cornerback right now. We look at the board now. I just don't. I'm like my brain's blowing up. I just don't understand how Tyson Campbell's still on the board.
I
don't get it. I just don't get it at all. So I'm ready to take him unless you guys say otherwise. Again, if you want to check it out, Tyson Campbell is considered a first-round pick. He's legitimately considered a low first-round, high second-round cornerback. And I don't understand how he's still available. He is an excellent coverage cornerback, has all the size to play outside.
He won't be available. So, I mean, like I was about to say, like with this draft, I think we take the mindset of take who we would want at that particular time, because these algorithms are so much in flux, especially now leading up to the draft. Everything is going to shift up and down and left and right and everywhere. So I even though you might say Patrick Jones was a reach at 66, he won't be a reach in the real draft at 66. He won't be. So I agree with taking Campbell at that point. I also am not opposed to doubling up on corner and providing some competition in that cornerback room, because Lamar Jackson, I was really high on that guy, and he needs to step it up, man, because he's making a liar out of me.
But yeah, I'd shout out to Donnie right now, man. You're right, man. If the draft goes this way, hell, forget backflips. You and me, Donnie, we're going down to Jets Drive and we're erecting a Joe Douglas statue. We got to get the bronze and we got to get that thing going. Because man, so
get Joe
far,
Douglas in the chat. Get him in the chat.
You gotta. I mean, there's no way Tyson Campbell is going to be available at 86. I just want to throw that out. He'll probably even be gone by the 65th pick. Most likely. Again, if you guys want to check him out, he's considered the better cornerback out of him and the Stokes combination. He's considered to be well gone by the second round, even possibly sometime in the first. But we got him, which is great. So if another option to go now could be, another corner, because that's something we really need.
Let's
throwing out your guys there.
Let's take a look at. Oh yeah, he's going to be there. And this is like Kerry Vincent as actually. I think he's higher than 194, like he's listed, but he did opt out in 2020. And shout out to the person who pointed out that Jamar Chase opted out. I completely forgot about that. You were absolutely right. That's my bad when we were talking about it earlier. But I think the reason Kerry Vincent is so low on this is the fastest man in the draft. His pro day was a 4.33, but he was clocked at a 4.21. Officially clocked by LSU. So he's the fastest guy in the draft, but he is also sitting next to an actual generational talent in Derek Stingley Jr. So Kerry Vincent got pushed into the slot and nickel position for a lot of his time there. So, I mean, it's really tough to kind of take that against him. But LSU, you can't really go wrong if you're taking a cornerback from LSU. LSU is defensive back university, man. They churn those guys out yearly.
Well, no, you're right, and that's why I was actually going to bring it up another point. Stingley's, one of my guys. I'd love to get him in the first round.
2022.
That's my guy. First round, Derek Stingley. Yep, that would be an amazing addition. But so 100%. Right now, moving on with the draft. Honestly, Kerry Vincent's a little bit of a reach here, but it's
where's wide receiver at?
Not a terrible pick. Yeah. I'm going to bring that up. I just want to throw out also Paulson Adebo is
Love
also an
Paul
interesting
Studio.
pick, as well as Rodarius Williams. Rodarius Williams is massively slept on. The kid is a prototypical outside corner. I believe he's about 6'1", 194, very physical, very strong at the point of attack. He's good in man and zone coverage. He could be a good option. Let's see. We do need a 4-3 outside linebacker, so I'm curious who's available.
Snowden, but I think next round.
That's not a bad one. I was kind of hoping Surratt would somehow still be on the board, but nope.
Chaz?
Yeah. Figured he'd be gone by now. Figured he would, but I figured I would take a look.
Sage is the wide receiver. Sage Surratt's the wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I was talking about, for a linebacker, yeah.
Now, Tutu Atwell. Let me just tell you.
I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the little guys. I mean, I love Jamison Crowder. I feel like I'm set with him. I mean, one guy I really love, underappreciated, Marquez Stevenson. Marquez Stevenson, when you watch him, he looks like a prototypical outside wide receiver, has, I feel like, wide receiver one potential because he hauls in a lot of balls.
Mm-hmm. Tutu Atwell, he's not gonna be a big time blocking slot receiver. He's a little too small for that. I think was he 5'10", 5'11", maybe. I think like 165. Like he's a little guy, but his route running is absolutely just crisp on point. He doesn't telegraph. He welcomes like line of scrimmage contact. He likes to push off at the line of scrimmage before it's a penalty, by the way. But also, I mean, sitting at 107 right here, what's our next pick after 107?
Yeah, so after 107, our next pick is 146, which what I'm surprised at right now is, at this pick, there's no offers. I'm thinking, not yet at 107, but maybe 146, 154. If somebody, wants to trade back and give us 3 or 4 picks, that could be a good situation. Get a lot of, depth, a lot of later guys.
This is a point in the draft where I would be okay. Like if I'm reading the draft board, I would actually prefer Seth Williams from Auburn as a wide receiver.
I know you're a big Seth guy.
So if we had a trade offer for like, I don't know, 115 at the lowest, I might consider it at this point. But at this point, I wouldn't consider it a reach to grab Seth Williams just to have wide receiver pipeline.
Could be a good way to go. And then also just throwing it out because you don't want to miss on them as well. The Jets, I wouldn't go yet.
That's my guy right there.
I'm just throwing it out for late. Yeah, just throwing it out for later in the draft. We haven't had a competent kicker in a very, very long time. We have seen firsthand the last couple of years with Vodvek and all that garbage, what it's like to not have a competent kicker and watch the kicker set carousel go round and round and round. So I feel like we need to take a kicker at some point. Jose Borregales is easily the best kicker available. Kid's got a cannon for a leg, amazing accuracy. I think 251's a little late.
97%.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Extra points.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely accurate. I think it's insanity. I think he's only missed a couple of kicks in his whole college career. If I look it up, like he's only missed like a few out of like the amount he's done.
He's missed more outside of 40 yards, but I think if I remember the stat line correctly, I think he's like, if you total out all field goals inside of 40 and all extra points in his career, I think he's at like 97%. I don't need a kicker that can boot the ball 60 yards. Yeah, that's nice. Like, that's all well and good. But if you give me a kicker that's 97% accurate inside the 40 and on extra points, I'll take that kid all day, every day.
Yeah, so the Jets really need a kicker. Again, like me and Jimmy are saying,
Borregales. Before I leave, who do we want at 107, guys? I like Seth Williams from Auburn at wide receiver.
But Borregales, I'm just throwing out, when we get to 154.
No, I know Donnie's got to take off. He's gonna watch later on, but he wants to see pick 107 before he takes off.
Yeah, no doubt. I see that now, Donnie. I'm going back and forth between the two screens. My bad, brother. See, I see you got to dip out early. No doubt. So make 107. Let's see. At 107, what do you guys think? So up to you guys. So 2-2 Outlaw.
Go back to tight end real quick. Tommy Tremble.
That's
Tommy
not
Tremble.
bad. That's okay. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Definitely could use a tight end. I'm surprised he's still on the board at 107, and that's a great value pick. Even according to them, that's a great value pick.
Dude, yeah, Top Billin loves Tommy Tremble. So that's my choice.
All right, I'm with you guys. So we'll do Tommy Tremble. Sounds like a win to me.
There you go, Donnie.
We just got our tight end. Donnie, I appreciate you being here, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of it. Look forward to seeing you always on the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast.
Kyle Trask going in. What was this, round 4 now? Or are we still 3? I don't know the numbers.
I can't believe Trask went so low, man. And a lot of people are saying that's a big possibility now that he could really slide in the draft.
He's my QB7.
I got to throw it. That's a sleeper running back of mine right there. Khalif Herbert, the kid from Virginia Tech. That kid is very talented. Ooh, we got a trade offer. Let's see what we got here. So we'd be dropping about 15 picks ish, give or take.
I don't think we need a 7th this year to replace a 7th next year. I like having more capital next year because we've been solid so far. So I don't know if I would drop down that far.
It's not a great order. It's not a great offer. Let's try something. Let's see if I can counter this here. Because that's not a great offer. So what if they want our 7th? What if we tried to get the 167th as well?
That's a decline.
That probably
right now.
Yeah. I figured.
Go back to the counter because it's not really that far to drop. So
it's not terrible, especially when you're this late in the draft. This late in the draft, that's not a huge drop at all. No.
Tell them that I want their 2022 4th round pick.
Or you know what? Let's try this. I have an idea. Let's leave it the way it is instead of 146. Let's see if they'll do 154 and attempt the same trade.
Okay.
Nope.
They have somebody in mind.
Probably. That's probably what it is.
I say no trade. If you're going to decline me twice, you don't get strike 3.
So,
you, Raiders.
Yeah. So looking at what we got right now, obviously we got our quarterback of the future. We got our awesome center, our next Nick Mangold, a guard to plug in there. Him and Connor McGovern at guard with Creed in the middle. Man, interior offensive line fixed.
Solid.
Patrick Jones on the other side of Carl Lawson. Man, the two of them are going to eat. Mm-hmm. Tyson Campbell shouldn't be here. That is a CB1 on day 1. So we legitimately did just get a CB1. And we got a damn good tight end. So honestly, there's really a lot of different ways we can go with this board.
I as of right now, this is a preliminary A+ draft for me.
Even if we stop, we could end it right here. Yeah. We could just close the draft and it's already an A+. But yeah, so just saying, we did get one cornerback. If we did, want to keep
Shi Smith's there.
I like him. I do like him. I don't not like him. But actually, the other guys I wanted. Okay, so that's fair. Well, that's a big sleeper right there. Tamorrion Terry. Tamorrion Terry is a very big sleeper. I'm surprised he's ranked so low.
Yeah, Boise State played him in 2019 when we headed down to Florida. What they called a neutral site, GTFO. I don't know if we can swear on your channel, but man, that was a rough game. We won it, and after the first half, it looked like we were going to lose it bad, but Florida State collapsed. But yeah, Terry was a beast against us, man. He was picking us apart. He was finding all the holes in our defense.
Yes, I like Shi Smith. I don't not like him. I might, people call it a reach, but again, me and Jimmy, we've talked about this before. The same people that say you reached for this guy are the same ones, that 2 or 3 years later are like, oh, why didn't you take this guy? You should have taken him this high. I don't understand. So I don't consider Terry a reach because Terry is, he's big. I think he's about 6'1", 6'2", about 204 pounds. He fits prototypically on the outside. He's quick. He's fast. The numbers haven't been there, but when he plays, he's been easily a top guy.
So Noel says at this point, best player available. I kind of agree, and I kind of don't, Noel, because what I think is best player available to me just says that the GM doesn't know what to do at that point. where when you can instead of grabbing best player available, you can start filling pipelines at positions of need. Like we need more linebackers, we need more offensive linemen, we need more, corner. Like it's best player available, maybe in a position of need. Yes, totally agree.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. Yeah, same way. I agree. So you definitely want to go, best possible player available, but in that position of need. So
Sure.
I feel like, right now, cornerback is still a decent need of ours. I mean, I feel like we're pretty good at edge. That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah. So like, I feel like, we're pretty good at edge. The only thing I could think of maybe is a 4-3 outside linebacker. You mentioned Snowden. That's not a bad way to go. But I would say either him, Rodarius Williams, or Kerry Vincent. Kerry Vincent is not a bad pick here at all. Even though they have him ranked at 194, he's not a bad pick.
No, and he won't be picked at 194.
Yeah. So I would say Kerry Vincent would be a good option, or Rodarius Williams is a guy I really like. I'm really high on that kid.
I honestly think Charles Snowden at this point would be.
We do need a 4-3 outside linebacker, so I would go with that.
And he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone before the next pick. I think we go 146 to 154, right?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's not a huge drop. We got another pick coming up. Not that far back.
It's a gamble, but Snowden is also. You know what? I'm not a fan of this, but I just for the sake of argument, let's take a look at running back.
Well, I'm curious. Let's see. I mean, I know Snowden. I'm curious. Let's see what they bring up about him. So they call him a tall, somewhat athletic linebacker, plays tough, smart football, instinctive, does not bite on ball fakes, flows well, good pursuit, fast speed. I would probably say about the same stuff. Solid run defender. I would say he's a pretty decent pass coverage guy. They don't mention that at all.
Good depth on pass drops. Thin build. I don't agree with like a thin build, but there's a lot to say about strength regardless of what your build is.
Yeah, they project him as a 3-4 linebacker who needs to add a little bulk to get a little stronger, or they're saying he might struggle in the NFL. If I remember correct, I have to look it up, but isn't Snowden in the 2-4? Isn't he about like 230 something or? No, let me see this for a sec. Charles Snowden, yeah, he's about 232. That's what I thought. He's 6'6", 232. I don't think he's small. I mean, they're saying in a 3-4 system, maybe he needs to put on weight, but they're neglecting to mention in a 4-3 system, he probably would fit perfectly.
Right. And that's my point is there, if it's so hard to do like the outside linebackers / edge rushers / defensive ends, or, it's so hard to say who's the top guy or where someone should go because it so much depends on what defensive scheme the team is running. So like a player like that,
the other options. Yeah, I'm not in love with anybody else. I agree. I think we should have Snowden. That would give us at least, a project as a 4-3 outside linebacker.
And he wouldn't be there, or it would be a gamble that he wouldn't be there at 154.
Yeah, and there went Rodarius Williams. So Rodarius Williams is now off the board. So I think at this pick, Kerry Vincent's still available. That would be an excellent pick. I also like Cameron Bynum, but I would say Kerry Vincent, like you said, is more appeal. The only thing I would throw out, though, potentially, is now might be the time to get Borregales. Now might be it. I'm a little worried at 186 because, again, how talented he is. We've seen, before the the Jets made the mistake of taking the best kicker at 59 once. So we've seen, the best kickers in draft go in the 140s, the 150s, the 160s. I'm just a little hesitant that he would still be there at 186. He definitely might be, but there is a decent chance he isn't. So what do you guys think? If you guys want to chime in, would you rather get the cornerback and take Kerry Vincent, or do you want to lock down the kicker of the future? Think about well, quiet on the Western Front.
think about this, Harrison. If you got Jose Borregales with that 6th round pick that Carolina just gave us, kickers often, a good kicker is often your team's leading scorer. And Can you imagine getting him with that Carolina pick?
Which
Do they
which
even
number?
have it?
That's what I was going to say. I wanted to actually. I kind of remember now. Was it the 151? Hold on.
No, it was a 6th-round pick for this year. I don't even think PFN's updated for the trade.
No, they're not. That's why I actually reminded me. I wanted to see if I could. I believe it would be the. Where is it?
It would be
193. So what I want to do is I want to try to get that. So let's try to trade for 193. It looks like we need to. Oh, here we go. So propose trade.
See.
Okay, so we're going to get the 193. And again, you can't use next year's picks anyway. So we'll just, do what we have to try to get it. So I bet
just for the sake of the mock, you can
that's the point. Yeah,
dump a bunch in from next year.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, that's not what's happening, but you don't pick next year right now anyway. So
just give them.
They do have. Wait, that's interesting. They do have the Carolina 2nd and the Carolina 4th. Hold on a minute.
They don't, but we got their 6th-round pick. We have 2 6th-round picks this year now. I agree, Noel. I think Borealis will still be available in the 6th round.
He definitely could be. So I'm trying to see what number it was. Here we go. It's the number 226. So we got the number 2.
Oh, they got their lower 6th-round pick. Is 226 still in the 6th round? Is that it?
Let me see this. It's factored in. It's already factored in.
Okay,
cool.
Okay.
I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we do have it. Okay, awesome.
That's gonna be that's gonna be cutting it close on Borealis. Yeah, but I think he'll still be there according to this algorithm.
He could be there. I mean, we'll see. He definitely could be there at 186. So that's going to be the defining moment. So let's take Harry Vincent and see what happens. Let's watch. Let's see. He could be. I wouldn't be shocked if he's gone. Let's see what happens. Let's watch the board shake.
Shakatoni finally goes. Jesus.
Kylan Hill, that's a sleeper running back.
Yep. Sage Surratt.
So far, so good. So far, so
Trey
good.
Hill?
Cole Van Lanen, that is a sleeper offensive lineman. That kid has a lot of potential. Cole Van Lanen. Okay, looks like you were right. He's still there. Now, I wouldn't hesitate. Now at 186, you got to do it. Yep. So you take Borgalis, and now, guys, we have our kicker of the future. That's it. We now have our kicker.
Now we take our tackle pipeline. Now we take our tackle pipeline with our last pick of the draft.
Well, I'm excited because, there's some deep guys. We'll see who's definitely available. But one of the guys, what
Trey McKitty just went 200.
That's a good tight end. But, hey, we got Trumbull. So,
yeah, totally. I'm
good.
happy with what we got. I'm just saying. Now, if my guy's still here. Yeah, we don't have a 7th this year.
Yeah, so this is now no offers. No offers. If we can't move down, this is now the last pick we have.
Let's go by,
that. Ooh, this could be an interesting pick. Chris Rumph II. So Chris Rumph II is an underappreciated edge rusher. When you get too caught up in measurables, like, people were talking about with Snowden, where he doesn't fit this, he doesn't fit that. You're missing a guy like Rumph, because Rumph is an edge rusher that weighs 235 pounds. But you guys saw Frankie Louvu last year, and Frankie Louvu weighed 236. You can't get too caught up in measurables, because when you do, you miss out on a Devonta Smith because he's too small. You don't take a Russell Wilson. Yeah. You guys have heard the joke I've told you before. You get a Brock Osweiler. That's what happens when you get too caught up on measurables. So Rumpf may only weigh 235 pounds, but if you watch this kid, you wouldn't think it. You totally wouldn't. He is a bull. I have seen him blow offensive linemen back that have close to 100 pounds on him. But because he weighs 236, he's easily the most athletic edge rusher in this draft. This kid is unbelievably athletic. He has a wicked spin move, very, very quick. And some even argue he might even be able to drop back into coverage and potentially be a regular linebacker in that capacity as well. So he would be a guy I would love at that pick.
So at this point in my mock drafts, I don't like to go based on algorithm. Like early in like post free agency, early leading up to the draft, I like reading the draft board based on the algorithm to see just who could get. But ultimately, what does that give us, right? So we got to think about it like leading up 3 weeks till the draft. What does playing a website's algorithm provide for us? Not really much as far as answers go. So at this point, I like to say, like I said in my video on my channel, for my mock draft is, I let it off with, hey, I'm not going to be reading the draft board. I'm going to be taking the players that I want at that spot where I think they would go if I didn't have a chance to get them later. And I think at this point, it's something like who were you talking about? Where was that guy?
Chris Rumpf. He's an edge rusher. And no, I totally agree with you, man. It's the same thing. That's how you have to look at it.
I think he's gone in the late 4th, early 5th round. I don't think he's here at this point. So I just at this point, like I said, my final pick, my vote would be for our tackle. If Tommy Kramer is there,
let's see who we got.
Notre Dame.
Well, I think they have Kramer listed as a guard. Yes, Kramer would be an excellent.
He played tackle. He was listed as a tackle.
Yeah, they have him listed as a guard here, but he can play both. That's the beauty of Kramer. He can do both.
Yeah, he can shore up the right side. He can learn from even Becton being a left tackle. He can learn from him. He can learn from George Fant. I like Tommy Kramer for the last one. One of the funniest things me and Green Bean did during a mock draft was we scrolled all the way down to the actual last ranked player in the thing, and it was Dabo Swinney's son.
Let's see see who's ranked all the way at the bottom here.
It's Nunn.
Antonio Nunn.
Where's scroll?
Speaking of scrolling all the way to the bottom, this is another underappreciated wide receiver. Rico Busey from Hawaii. This kid's got a lot of potential. I really like him.
Let's scroll up a little bit. I want to see how far he's climbed. Look for
who are we looking for?
Swinney is the last name.
Right here.
Right there. Will Swinney.
He's climbing. He climbed a little bit. He ain't at the bottom anymore.
He did, man.
He's working his way up.
He was dead last on the board, so we were like, hey, we're going to make miracles happen, baby. We're going to make your dreams come true. You're getting drafted to the New York Jets. Like a guy sitting at home playing video games getting a phone call from Joe Douglas.
I mean, and doing that, going with a guy that definitely wouldn't be drafted, like, again, Rico Busey down here. This kid, watch him at Hawaii, man. Watch this kid play. Underappreciated. He's a very physical wide receiver. He's not the fastest. That's the knock on him. But he's very physical, and he has very strong hands.
Yeah. But like I said, I want to get a tackle pipeline going. So my vote is for Tommy Kramer from Notre Dame. Kid's a beast, man.
Yeah, so I would say, just going through the last couple of guys, that's definitely a good one. I really like Tommy Kramer. So if it come down to, would you want to get an edge rusher or would you want to go offensive lineman? I like Tommy Kramer. Yeah, just throwing out some other names. I would definitely go Kramer over them. But Sedarius Hutcherson could be an interesting choice. Also, Calvin Ashley is an interesting option as well.
I like our edge rush room now, our edge presence outside linebacker room. Like you said, we still got Bryce Huff. We still got Zuniga. We still got so many players at those positions that we need to see what they have to offer. And what we don't have is somebody sitting, waiting in the wings behind George Fant, and that is an issue for me.
I'm actually glad you brought that. I was about to say, yeah, because when you look at Tommy Kramer, it's the same kind of reason I like Cole Van Lanen. Cole Van Lanen is a very tall, about 320-pound offensive tackle that's very athletic, very quick, strong hands. Same applies to Tommy Kramer. But Tommy Kramer is more of a bull. He's very, very strong, very, very physical player, likes to put people down, plays nasty, definitely a Joe Douglas kind of offensive lineman, likes to play nasty, bit of a mauler, just like Cameron Clark. But at his, I believe he's 6'6", 319, I want to say, ish, give or take for Tommy Kramer. He could play outside offensive tackle. And I could definitely see, like you mentioned with Fant, Tommy Kramer could potentially push George Fant in camp at that right tackle position.
100%. I 100% agree.
I'm with you.
Make these guys fight for their job, period. Tommy
Yes,
Kramer,
like Noel says, he likes that he plays guard and tackle.
17, draft prospect grade. I think it's out of a 10 scale, but he's a 5.65, which is why we're taking him in the 6th round. You know what I mean? I'm not saying the guy's a starter. You know what I mean? But you got to get those pipeline guys. Look at one of the guys that I point to all day, every day. He came out of my alma mater, Boise State, is Matt Paradis, arguably one of the best centers in the NFL.
Man, that
6th round pick.
I have trouble with it thinking about Matt Paradis, because you know what happens when I think of Matt Paradis? When I think of Matt Paradis, I think of freaking Anthony Barr leveraging the Jets.
I'm sorry.
Leveraging our freaking team to be able to get a better contract from the Vikings so that we missed out on Paradis. Freaking Mac even said he would have been in on Paradis if it weren't for that contract.
I was going to say, I don't think Paradis.
When I think of Paradis, it just makes me want to punch Anthony Barr.
Yeah, I am 100% with you. I was going to say, I don't think Paradis was leveraging the Jets in any way.
No, he wasn't.
He was actually all in.
No.
Stupid Mac decides, again, defensive player, because he's an idiot and doesn't want to protect the quarterback. I'm with you. But like I said,
the thing I use, the Anthony Barr as the perfect example. That was that LOL Jets narrative that we used to have. Teams, not only not wanting to play for us, they're freaking leveraging us to be able to get better deals from their teams. Those days are over. Now that we got Joe Douglas, a great GM, we brought in Robert Saleh. Guys want to play for him. We saw it, in the pressers. All the guys, Hardy, Carl Lawson, they literally said, I came here to play for Robert Saleh. So those narrative days are over. The happenings is over. I hope we never see that again. And I hate Anthony Barr for that.
I will never respect that man, ever. And I'll never respect Mac because what GM looks at a linebacker and avoids the best center to hit free agency in the last 5 years at the time?
Well, we saw it. Look at Mac's drafting. Mac consistently went defense and neglected the offense. He never really took any offensive linemen, except for, Chuma Edoga, which he probably won't even make the team.
Guy's an idiot. Well, let's take a look. Guys, what do you think, man?
Yeah, chime in, guys. Tell us what you think. Bring in the comments. Tell us what you think of this draft, because this is exciting, guys. This is exciting. I mean, we got Zach Wilson. We got our quarterback, the guy we wanted, our future. And we're building it up.
Honest with you, Harrison?
Yeah.
At this point, after just mind-numbing hours of quarterback, just study, am I crazy to think that if the Jags actually took Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence fell to us, I'm sad? Am I crazy?
You should be sad. And somebody brought that up the other day. I think it was yesterday when I was doing my and again, just reminding you guys, today, unfortunately, my fiance's father was in the hospital. Thankfully, he's doing well now. He had to get a hip surgery, but unfortunately, there were a couple of complications, so it went a little longer than anticipated. So we had to stay there a little bit longer. But normally, my podcast is always going to be on Mondays. So on Monday, I was talking to somebody and they brought that exactly up. If that happens, we get Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you guys remember Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be the guy that we all loved, the unheralded prospect, the one that, like, you hear his name, it's like a messiah, a light comes down and shines on you. He's like the prospect for the last decade. So, I mean, I think that there is no possibility they don't take Trevor, but if there's anyone they're not going to take Trevor for, it would probably be Zach. But either way, we're getting one of the two of them.
Well, I mean, and Urban Meyer's also said he's like, yeah, we're pretty much leaning Wilson.
No, he has, yeah. I mean, he hasn't really.
Lawrence, I mean.
Yeah. I forgot the exact quote, but if you look at it, yeah, that's what you did. That's basically what he said. He's basically like, yeah. We're
like, yeah, that'd be fair to say. I think the reporter asked, is it fair to say that you guys are pretty much leaning Wilson? He's like, that's fair. It is what it is, right?
Trevor falls to us and Sam Darnold draft all over again. Don't say that, man. Don't say that. That's a jinx.
Don't you put that evil on us.
Exactly. That's what you put that evil on us. I was thinking the same thing. Now, I know what you mean. Yeah, that Sam was the top back in that draft, which is totally true. But remember when I talked about this when we traded Sam away. People tended to forget that when we drafted Sam Darnold 3rd overall, he wasn't considered a finished product. In fact, he was considered far from a finished product. What was big on Sam Darnold
wasn't far from a finished product.
He was. What everyone loved about Sam Darnold was the potential. They felt, the arm talent, the athletic ability, the potential was there through the roof, but it needed to be honed. I mean, he had an okay rookie season, but then Adam Gase got his hands on him and molded him into a giant piece of crap.
Well, the other problem with Sam Darnold is everybody's like, oh, he's got great arm strength. Yeah, when he actually throws the ball correctly. But he steps in a bucket 85% of the time.
I wouldn't even say his arm strength is great. I would say it's slightly above average. Zach Wilson's got great arm strength.
I'm with you.
Zach Wilson's got that great arm strength.
Sam Darnold likes to throw, like, I know you guys can't see my feet, but he throws like I'm facing you right here, right, with my shoulders, and my feet are parallel with my shoulders, and Sam Darnold throws the ball. Now that causes him to sail intermediate throws, and it causes him to underthrow deep throws. So his accuracy goes to shit. And there's just no way around it. He doesn't have the arm strength to do what he keeps trying to do. And that's the problem. And he's a first read, man. How many times did he stare down Lawrence Cager last year and just not throw him the ball? Like, Lawrence Cager's been open all year. Okay.
Here's what's interesting about Sam Darnold. Like when I watched him, doing, and again, I admitted it, for the longest time during the year, it's like that Terrell Owens syndrome. Remember, that meme of Terrell Owens crying, "That's my quarterback." He was our guy. He was the guy we took in 2018. He was supposed to be our guy, our young heralded talent. I didn't want to, I believe we could definitely build around him. But the more I watched, the more I stepped back and looked at it, I realized things like you point out. But also, I've seen him go through read progressions. He just tends to make the wrong decision.
Slower. He does it far too slow.
And he makes the wrong decision. Yeah. He goes through that progression and then decides to. The interesting thing about Sam Darnold is, now I see a lot of people don't make this comparison. He's almost like a textbook gunslinger. He likes to take risks and throw the ball into contested windows. He reminds me a lot of Brett Favre in that capacity. When Brett Favre ended his career, he had the most touchdowns, but he also had the most interceptions because he was a textbook gunslinger that took a lot of risks. And the problem when you have a guy like that on an absolutely shitty team with no coaching, you see what happens.
I think my issue with it is that it's just the same stuff that's been happening for years, and not just in the NFL. You can have a guy that throws 10 or 15 interceptions a year. Like, I'm okay with that if he's throwing 45 touchdowns a year. I'm okay with that.
Exactly.
But when you're talking about Sam Darnold, like when we're praising him for a game that he throws 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, and 175 yards, there is something wrong. There is something very, very wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's not okay with me. I'm not okay with mediocre talent at the most important position in sports anymore. I'm not, man. We're all Jets fans. We have been waiting 51 years. 52 now. We've been waiting 52 years to get back to the big show. There is no reason, we are not unreasonable to want an elite talent at quarterback, period.
No, and not even elite, just, to want good quarterback play. Because again,
I'm going above that. I'm going.
No,
above
I want elite. I want elite, but we can at least settle for something good.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
Jimmy ain't ready to settle.
No more settling.
Well, hey, you're not settling with Zach Wilson. Zach's my guy. We're not settling with this kid. Look at his numbers in the play action. Look at his numbers on, designated rollouts. It's insanity. Those numbers are just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Hey, dude, I've seen the kid live. I've stood next to Brian Harsin on the Boise State sideline, head coach of the Boise State Broncos, now coaching Auburn. But I've stood next to this man, and not like him looking at me going, "What do you think, Jimmy?" But I've been there while player evaluation has been happening, and I take notes on that, man, because people like Chris Peterson, who I've also spoken with, Brian Harsin, these guys know what they're talking about with player personnel. And I listen to that and I adapt that into how I evaluate somebody. And I'm telling you, like when I got Brian Harsin looking at Zach Wilson going, God, that kid's good. Because he committed to Boise State and then decommitted to go to BYU. So but Hank Bachmeier was in the whole mix and like for Boise State. So there was a bunch of stuff happening. So I get it. I'm not blaming Zach Wilson for anything, but my point being is when you have a head coach of the best team in the Mountain West Conference, Boise State Broncos, and you have that head coach going who knows how to build a quarterback, and you have him saying, man, that Zach Wilson is the real deal. Like, you listen to that and you take that to heart, period. I don't care what the numbers show. I don't care what the stupid analysts on ESPN say. They don't know nothing. You get a guy down on the field playing against that player, that's who you listen to.
Yeah, I feel you, brother. And that I'm just glad everyone's finally gotten on board. I'm just glad that, this Zach Wilson train is pulling out of the station at full steam. I love it. Because, I was, on Zach from way back. Because, first I was all about Sam. He was our guy. Then everyone was like, oh, Trevor. It took a little while, but finally I'm like, okay, I get that, he's the greatest prospect in a long time. He's the closest thing to a can't miss. The whole rhetoric, rah. Finally, I get on board. And then, of course, we lose the first overall pick. At that moment, that's when I fell for Zach Wilson. And no one was talking about him. All the conversation was Justin Fields. I'm just so glad, man. I'm just so glad that everybody is now seeing the same things I've seen in Zach Wilson. And I hear the same things back in, I think it was like, early December. I was saying this kid's the second best quarterback in the draft by far, easily, closer to Lawrence than anybody else is to him. All the things I was looking for. You're hearing these things now, and I love it.
Well, and I thought so, but I never would have thought, like, Josh Allen out of Wyoming took me by surprise. I was like, people are looking at a Wyoming quarterback? Really? And I've always been the small school quarterbacks. Like, small schools can produce a bunch of skill position players, but quarterback's tough because you have sample size. Because small schools, the benefit that they do have is that small schools actually tend to have longer term starters going into the NFL, right? So they have that 3-year starter, that 4-year starter that ends up transitioning to the NFL.
Noel's trying to warn you. He's like, don't jinx it.
No, man. Hey, I never thought that Zach Wilson from BYU was going to be considered in this realm. That's on me. And as far as Sam goes, after the draft pick was made, I'm a Jets fan first, and I was all about it. I'm like, okay, that's our pick. Let's do this. Let's get it. I freely admit, guys, I'll tell you right now, I am right a lot. I really am. I really am, man. And I'm not even trying to be cocky about it, but I am right often. And I will when I make that brag and I make that weird flex, I will also stand right next to that and I will say when I am wrong. And in 2018, I wanted Saquon Barkley. That was my pick at 2 or at 3, and I
There's
wanted
no way
that.
the Giants were going to pass on him.
Well,
I
I
felt like that
mean,
was an impossibility.
even if they had, I mean, he would still have the same injury problems that he has now for the Giants. Like, so I was wrong on that pick, but Sam was also wrong. So
Yeah, no, I'm with. Yeah, when it comes to quarterbacks, we've talked about this, you and me, a lot in the past. I've
yeah.
mentioned it, on all my podcasts with you guys. I look for different things than what people talk about. On Twitter, the joke I made. You see the guy drops back in the pocket, he's an amazing deep throw, hits a guy 50 yards downfield. The receiver really does all the work. Everyone blows up. He's the greatest guy ever, but it wasn't really that great a throw. Everybody can make those deep throws. I mean, you want to see a hell of a deep throw? Look at James Morgan. James Morgan's got one of the best deep throws you'll ever see. That kid can well the ball down the field, but it comes down to so many more factors. And you were talking about, back in 2018, my guy was Lamar Jackson. I loved Lamar Jackson. I couldn't believe there were all these haters out there saying he should be playing wide receiver. He was, in my opinion, the best quarterback in that draft. However, I knew, the idea of reaching, the Jets will never reach for him at 3. So I figured I got all on Baker Mayfield. With Sam Darnold, I had that USC stigma, same thing I have with the Ohio State stigma. I didn't really, fall for Sam Darnold until his rookie year back in 2018 when he played and really impressed me with his potential. I was all in on Baker at that point.
I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan only in the respect of he's lighting it up right now, and he will. Running quarterbacks always do.
He's more than a running quarterback, man. I'm telling you, if you keep him in the pocket, he can make the throws. I think he can.
I see Michael Vick 2.0. I think he's a little bit better than Vick, but at the same time, all those quarterbacks that have come and gone with that skill set, it's the same. They will burn bright. They will be flashy for a few years, and they burn out quick. I want a guy that's going to be a staple for our organization for the next 10, 15 years.
And that's definitely Zach Wilson's. Yeah, we're not going to keep you
definitely not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is not going to be doing what he's doing 15 years from now.
See, I would disagree. I mean, that's where if you look at the numbers, I think Lamar's numbers in the pocket are more impressive than people give him credit for.
How pissed off is Hollywood Brown? How pissed off is Hollywood Brown? Because he's put it out on Twitter. He's deleted the tweets, but he's put it out on Twitter.
No, it's true. And it's the same thing. I'm telling you, back in 2018, people question, does Lamar Jackson have to play wide receiver? He was a quarterback then. He's a quarterback now. He runs a lot and throws a lot on the run. But if you force him to stay in the pocket, he's accurate. He makes good decisions. I like the kid. I still feel like he can be like Michael Vick, but more of I saw him as like a Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb hybrid. It is honestly what I saw him as a very mobile running quarterback, but an underappreciated pocket presence.
Right. I mean,
but yeah, so I just want to run you guys through this draft because, like we were saying, this is, man, if this happens, we're building a Joe Douglas statue. Like me, Jimmy, Donnie, Noel, you can join us. We're going there and we're erecting this thing.
I will volunteer my time to help each and every one of these draft picks move to New Jersey.
Because, man, Zach Wilson, nothing needs to be said about him. Creed Humphrey, we talked all about him. Wyatt Davis, right there. Think about that now. You have an offensive line of Mekhi Becton, who should have been a freaking Pro Bowl left tackle. It's a crime that man wasn't in the Pro Bowl. So a rookie Pro Bowl left tackle. Now you got Connor McGovern next to him at left guard. You have Creed Humphrey. Now
I think Wyatt Davis is left guard.
Okay. See, the way I do it is I'm a little different. I approach offensive line kind of the old school way. I like my right side to be more of the nastier side, and my left side is more of the technical side. So that's kind of why I put Davis on the right and McGovern on the left. But hell, you could switch them.
I think either way could work. Like I'm not saying McGovern couldn't be left guard. I'm just saying that Wyatt Davis is a natural left guard.
He does play left guard now, yeah.
So I would say don't play the rookies out of position. You give a vet like
That's
McGovern.
fair.
You give a vet like McGovern the opportunity to be versatile, but you want to build up your rookie first. You know what I mean? Like you want to build that guy up, his confidence in the position he's used to. You want to just put him in the best chance for success, and I think that's keeping Wyatt Davis at left guard.
That's definitely fair. You know what? I see. That makes a lot of sense. Because, yeah, Wyatt Davis does play left guard right now. And Connor McGovern, as a center, could move to either one. He's played all around. So, yeah, he could definitely be the right guard. And I'm telling you guys, like me and Jimmy were just telling you guys, don't sleep on Tommy Kramer pushing George Fant. If this was the actual draft that the Jets got, again, look up Tommy Kramer. He's big. I'm speculating. I can look up the exact numbers. I think he's about 6'6", 319-ish, give or take. He's very long, has a long wingspan, which is why I'm surprised they have him listed as a guard. Like Jimmy said, he could easily play tackle as well. He's both. He's very athletic, but he's also a bruiser. He's what Joe Douglas likes in linemen. He's what Joe Douglas likes in Cameron Clark. He's what Joe Douglas liked in Mekhi Becton. Tommy Kramer puts people down. And bringing up Cameron Clark, don't sleep on him. Man, I wouldn't be shocked if Cameron Clark potentially beats out Connor McGovern for that right guard spot. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And you know what? If he beats him out, he plays. Best payer plays. I don't care how much money Connor McGovern is making. He can be an expensive backup. If Cam Clark wins the position in training camp, he should start.
I agree. It's all a battle. I don't think that I come from the old school where no position each season is guaranteed. You got to fight for your spot. Period.
I'm with you, bro. I'm the same way. I love that. I forgot. I think it was Rex Ryan. I want to say it was either Rex or Herm. One of them said that. They flat out said, the best player always plays. I don't care if I'm playing. It was Rex, right?
I think that was Herm.
It was Rex. It might have been Herm. It might have been Herm. Where he said, I don't care if you're making 8. It sounds like Herm. It does sound like Herm. So.
It sounds like both of them, but I picture Herm Edwards' face.
But every time I see Herm Edwards' face, I hear you play to win the game.
Dude, he was eyeballing that reporter. He was like, go! Like he was on them. That reporter probably quit being a reporter after that.
He went home crying.
He went home and cried. And never wrote again.
So don't sleep on it, guys. Tommy Kramer would, without a doubt, push George Fant for that right tackle position. And again, best player plays. I don't care how much Fant is making. I don't care if he's got, $8 million something. He could be a swing tackle. That's fine. Yep. Same thing with McGovern. If Cameron Clark beats him out, McGovern's a backup.
But it's also depth. Like I am confident that we have the depth to do it. If I feel like Tommy Kramer is pushing George Fant, and if George Fant feels that pressure, then I'm okay either way, no matter who starts. It doesn't have to be our draft pick. Like, I'm okay if Fant wins that battle, because I know that if Fant gets hurt, we got that guy that was just about there. You know what I mean? So I'm good with it, but I can't stress this enough to the chat, and thank you guys for hanging out. But I can't stress this enough. If you put Creed Humphrey and Wyatt Davis on this offensive line, we're top 10. We're top 10.
Without a doubt, man. No, without a doubt. And you guys remember, that was my big thing. I've been for a long time, Zach Wilson, Creed Humphrey were without a doubt had to be the picks. Couldn't not get them. And I really wanted Wyatt Davis at 34. So like I was saying with Jimmy right now, we could just, even with Patrick Jones, we could just take everything from Patrick Jones, and I'm sold with everything above that. Everything else is just gravy.
I think we have. Okay, so Zach Wilson, Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis, Patrick Jones, Tyson Campbell. That's 5 starters.
And Tommy Tremble. Right. Dude, Tommy Tremble could easily beat out Chris Earnshaw.
Or Ryan Griffin.
And Charles Snowden. We need an outside linebacker. We need an outside linebacker really bad.
We do. So I think Charles Snowden.
Another starter.
We have 6, 7. I think Kerry Vincent could probably start depending on what happens with Brian Poole. Kerry Vincent could probably be a starter. Jose Borregas would absolutely be a starter.
Oh, without a doubt. Joe Douglas cuts every kicker on the team.
I'm looking at 7, potentially 8 starters on this draft right now, and that's insane.
Oh, this is beautiful. Insane. You guys nailed it. Kudos to you guys. Yeah. And I want to say thank you, Jimmy, for you being here because you, me, together with the fans, we put together an amazing
Hey,
mock
man.
draft right here.
I'm just glad I could bring some people in. Noel, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Thank you for seeing the plug video and helping out my friend Harrison with the subscription. I do appreciate all that. And yeah, it's been fun, dude.
Yeah. So this was a killer draft, as you guys see just again. So we said, quarterback, center, starting guard. Patrick Jones could easily start across from Carl Lawson.
Up to 105 now, brother.
What's up?
You're up to 105 now.
Oh, I love it. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Love it. So, yeah. So Patrick Jones easily could be a starter. But again, maybe Huff does. You can do an interchangeable thing there. Tyson Campbell, there's no way. There's just no way he falls to 86 because he's considered the better cornerback between him and Eric Stokes. But if for some reason he magically did, this is a CB1. Immediately day one, this is our CB1. The combination of Tyson Campbell with Bryce Hall and Javelin Guidry in the slot with Bless Austin in the backfield, and we got Carrie Vincent. Man, we just fixed the cornerback situation.
And I think Tommy Tremble could easily beat out Ryan Griffin. And I also think he would push Chris Herndon.
I was just saying, I think he could beat out Herndon possibly.
On the side note, real talk, Ryan Griffin better be giving up number 84 to Corey Davis. Just saying. I'm just saying.
That would be an interesting situation.
It means more. It means more for Corey Davis. Corey Davis lost his brother to cancer, and he wears number 84 because that was his brother's football number. So Corey Davis better get that number.
If we hear tomorrow that Ryan Griffin was cut because he didn't want to give up his number, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
I would applaud the Jets. Like, you're not going to give that man that number after that story? Nah. You're gone. You're gone, son.
Yeah. So again, just going through them quicks again. Charles Snowden, we need a 4-3 outside linebacker bad. We got Mosley coming back. He's going to plug up the middle, be that Mike. We got Gerard Davis. Remember, I told you guys all about him. He was a former first-round pick, 22nd overall. Ton of potential. He got a short deal. Hopefully he lives up to it. Him and Snowden could be those 4-3 outside linebackers we've been looking for.
Yeah, I think the Jets have solidified the front seven. We've solidified cornerback. We've solidified offensive line, which are the top three needs. Who do we take on wide receiver?
We didn't take a wide receiver, I don't believe. But you know what? That's fine. That's totally fine. Because again, wide receiver, we got depth, man.
Keelan Cole's going to be a quietly dangerous player, though, so I'm okay
Cole
with it.
Is going to be quietly dangerous. Check it out. I love some of the film of him. I put this video up when he was with the Jaguars. He made this ridiculous, one-handed somersault-like catch. He is a wide receiver 3 with absolute wide receiver 2 potential. I mean, Corey Davis and Denzel Mims are both 2 wide receiver 2s with wide receiver 1 potential, especially Mims. I don't get people saying, Mims can't be a wide receiver 1. Well, what the hell is that based on? A rookie season? The kid was supposed to be a first-round pick. He was projected to be a first-round pick. He was considered one of the best wide receivers in that draft. We totally killed it, trading back, still getting him. If you look at all the rookie guys, rookie seasons, Allen Robinson didn't have that much better of a rookie season than Denzel Mims. Kenny Golladay didn't have that much better of a rookie season than Denzel Mims. They picked it up in their sophomore years. And let's not forget Denzel Mims was hurt last year, like most rookies are, and he didn't just have 1 bad hamstring, he had 2. So Denzel Mims could easily be the wide receiver 1 we're looking for.
He'll break out, but I like the fact that I'm not even going to put a number on. We have such a great intermixed tandem at wide receiver right now.
And that's what you need, man. People don't realize that. They want that wide receiver 1. You want that interchangeability.
See, I don't even care about why is it that a wide receiver 1 has to be an outside wide receiver? Why? I say my wide receiver 1 is the receiver that I can look at every single play.
Are you about to say Jamison Crowder? Because I want to find a way to give you
Why not? Why?
Oh
Why
man,
is Jamison Crowder?
is there a way I can give you like an applause on this thing? I'm trying to figure out how to do it.
I don't know. Do you have the paid version?
I do not.
Neither do I.
Probably got the duck up in the corner.
Look, guys. My last point on this is going to be a wide receiver one is your wide receiver that you can count on in clutch moments. That's the guy you want to throw to when it's 3rd and 25 and you need 26. And the wide receiver one is the guy that you just snap, react. I got to get it to him. That's your wide receiver one. Whether he's a slot, whether he's a tight end, whether he's an outside receiver, I don't care. Just get that outside receiver has to be your wide receiver one out your head. It doesn't matter. It's your most reliable guy that's going to make the play when it counts the most. Period. And we have 4 guys now that can be that guy on any given game. It's insane.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Better. Our roster is so much better than people think. It is so much better than people think, man. Don't listen to the media. Fuck Mel Kiper. And that's all I got to say about it.
No, I'm with you, man. And if you guys want, if you didn't check it out, I had it was like an hour-long episode. I think it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago where I literally went through every single situational position and showed how after free agency, first of all, Joe Douglas had a massively underappreciated free agency. He was getting crap from people that don't understand like how great of a free agency he had. He fixed so many things, including, like you said, giving us legitimate options at wide receiver, which is what you want. Options.
Harrison, did you see? I don't mean to cut you off, but
that's all good.
Did you see Bleacher Report rated the Jets as the 2nd most improved roster in the NFL?
I buy it. I definitely would agree with that sentiment.
Who's pissed off? What Jets fan is pissed off at that? If you're
because they wanted the Joe Thuney and they didn't get the Joe Thuney, so life is over. It's over. That's it. But if
you're mad that you didn't get the name, just go be a Giants fan, man. I don't even want to talk. Go be a Giants fan. Get out of here.
No, you're right, man. And no, exactly. And that's why I was so upset when people were talking about cutting Jamison Crowder. That kind of stuff, that made me so angry. People are like, we got to move on from Jamison Crowder because he's making $11 million. Why? The dude's worth that and more. Just because it's not guaranteed, you have to cut him? That doesn't make any sense. Jamison Crowder has consistently been one of the best slot receivers in the NFL since the day he was drafted. Consistently. People wanted to trade him out for Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel had 1 great year. Before that, he's been a freaking nobody, and he just got overpaid. Jamison Crowder is an asset and one of the best slot wide receivers. Jimmy, you nailed it. He easily, that's a wide receiver.
That's our number 1 right now. Yeah. Maybe Denzel Mims takes that over. Maybe Corey Davis takes that over. Hey, hot take. Maybe Keelan Cole takes that over.
Dude, Keelan Cole, people don't sleep on Keelan Cole, man. That kid's impressive.
His field awareness is insane.
And his catch radius, man. I've seen the guy's only, I think, like 5'11". I've seen him jump up and make some ridiculous catches.
It's not even the jump up ability, man. It's like he can catch a ball that's 3 yards out of or 2 yards, call it, 6 feet, like a yard outside the hash, and like at the sideline. And he can drag a toe. He knows exactly where his feet are. His positional awareness, top level, elite. And we have him at number 4.
No, and that's the point, man. Everyone was like, you need a wide receiver 1. No, you don't. This stigma of you need to have the Kenny Galladay. I mean, yeah, having a guy like that is great. It's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But you don't need that. If you have guys, again, like Corey Davis and Mims, who on their best days can both be that, hell, Cole on his best day can be close to that. You factor in Jamison Crowder, that's a hell of a lot of weapons for Zach Wilson. Now we have a fixed offensive line. Like Jimmy said, I agree. You add Creed Humphrey, Wyatt Davis. That offensive line is instantly a top 10 offensive line, maybe even potentially top 5 if those rookies really, really step up. And you have all those wide receiver weapons. And don't forget, you got guys like Berrios in reserve. Berrios is an underappreciated guy. He actually led the Jets last year in yards after catch per reception. I don't know if you knew that. A lot of people didn't realize that. He actually had more yards after the catch per reception than Jamison Crowder. He's an underappreciated guy. You also have Lawrence
I
Cager.
love him. He's not underappreciated by me. Weapons hot about about 3 months ago. We did a show talking about keep or punt. Like, who do you want to keep? And out of CJ and Kevin, both of them punted on Braxton Berrios, and I'm like, I'm keeping them, man. I am keeping that
the
receiver.
reason people were upset is because you watched him play, with Joe Flacco, he had that horrible drop touchdown. Yeah, he had a lot of bad drops, but he also had a lot of really good plays. He's a young developing guy. You have to remember, I think he was a 6th round pick by the Patriots, I believe. He was a very, very late pick. He was expected to be a project. He's got potential, and he's exactly the kind of guy you want in a reserved way for a wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think our receiving core, we don't need to take a receiver in the draft, in my opinion.
I mean, we could take one late. I wouldn't mind one late.
You could. Like I said earlier, it's always nice to have pipeline. Like, we don't need to. We can take a running back mid-round. We don't need to. We have Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Josh Adams. Boom. And P. Ryan, CJ. I'm sorry, CJ. We have P. Ryan too. But my point being is, it's nice if we can get some fresh legs at those spots. We don't need to. This Shanahan offense takes running backs you've never heard of and makes them into household names, man. Tevin Coleman, yeah, he's an injury risk. But if he does well, that guy can run the ball with the best of them still to this day.
I like Tevin Coleman, but I'm really excited about the tandem of Ty Johnson and Josh Adams. I think that is an underappreciated combo, especially Josh Adams. Josh Adams, I posted this earlier today. Out of his 153 rushing yards he had in 2020, 103 of them were after contact. That's 66% of his freaking yards. 66% of his yards came after contact.
I think 75 of them or something like that came in one game. That tells you how underutilized he was.
Yeah.
And Josh Adams was the Philadelphia Eagles' leading rusher in 2018. Come on.
And Ty Johnson. I'm telling you guys, if you want, check it out. It was a video take I did not too long ago. The stats, I showed how last year Ty Johnson and Josh Adams had excellent numbers. The averages were amazing, but they were averaging 2 carries a game, 1 carry a game. Yet they were averaging 4 or 5 yards for the whole season.
Yeah.
Totally underutilized, totally underappreciated. The two of them together complement each other well. You add in Tevin Coleman. Heck, I honestly I don't even think we need a running back.
No, we don't. If Tevin Coleman stays healthy, that's a 1,000-yard rusher. I think our running back group can combine for about 2,500 to 2,800 yards and about, call it, 15 touchdowns.
Well, I think Tevin Coleman is interesting. I don't know about 1,000 yards, but again, I'm really excited about Johnson and Adams. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnson and Adams together could get about 1,500 yards, I would say, between the two of them.
Yeah, totally. They absolutely could. I just think that Tevin Coleman coming back to a Shanahan offense that he was used to previously in San Francisco before he went to Atlanta, I think that this is a resurgence year for Tevin Coleman. This is a guy that I wanted in 2018 over Le'Veon Bell. I wanted Tevin Coleman. Way cheaper, way more upside, far less risk. But Mac, with those contracts. But I think that's about all I have.
Yep. So on that note, guys, we've kept you guys about 2 hours now. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys all for being here. Noel, shout out to you in the comment section. Appreciate all of it. Thank you for the subscription on the channel. All of you guys that have been here, I appreciate you all for coming in on your Tuesday afternoon and your Tuesday evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Remember, we're live on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m., and I look forward to seeing you guys there.
Thanks, guys.